Assalamu alaikum warahmatullah. So it's that time of week again. It's our usual Friday night live. And as always, I'm sorry, but I'm running a little bit late and I've got a legitimate excuse tonight. So as you know that as most of you will know, I'm running for the local elections. So we've just been doing some phone banking. And we've just finished and I've come straight onto live to come and catch up with you guys and see how everyone is and just get a general update on what you're up to, and I'll give you a little bit about what I'm going to be hoping to do this weekend. So let's see who comes in for a chat. It's been an interesting day today because we've had really cold weather in the last couple of weeks, haven't we? So we've had a couple of -5s actually. So the weather really dropped, and now today seems like I was outside in a t-shirt. So it's drastic, it's swung around quite drastically, hasn't it? So this is what is normally referred to as false spring or full spring or something like that. And it's tempting at this time of year when you see days like today, is to start moving some tender plants outside. So you've got to be a little bit careful about getting those things outside. So let's see who's come in to say hello. We've got Karen Smith. How are you doing? Thank you very much for coming in. The Muslim Gardener, wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah, mashallah. Alan, how are you doing? Mad Dog, how are you doing? My legs are absolutely. Why are your legs absolutely dead? Let's see how many steps I've done today. Go on. I've done just shy of 20,000 steps today. So yeah, a little bit shy of 20,000 steps. But it's like that for me pretty much every day at the moment. Willow Grove, how are you doing? Graham, Nomathimba, how are you doing? Sorry if I've mispronounced your name. Dandy Mum, how are you doing? Alan's on his own. Why are you on your own? Not 2,000, 20,000. You've got 9,700. I've got, double that and you'll get to where I am. Moz, how are you doing? So I know Moz and Graham, you messaged me. So when you guys were messaging me, I was on the phone ringing party members and stuff, trying to get them to come out and help me with some leaflets. Because most days at the moment I'm out leafleting by myself or not door knocking by myself, and it's hard work. It really is hard work, man. When you've got to with trying to get the message across to as many people as you can, so it's hard. But yeah, so hopefully we were calling people up, trying to get some members in to come and give us a hand. Alan's wife and daughter have gone weekend shopping at this time, or have they gone away for shopping? Pizzle, how are you doing? Thank you very much for coming in. What's the weather like where everyone is at the moment? So they've gone on a 2-day shopping spree, and they're going to go shopping overnight as well. Alan, I hope you're a rich man. You must be a very rich man if you can afford that. We just got a fresh blanket of snow dropped here in Kansas. Is it deep snow? Because we had a little bit of snow earlier on this week. We got some really cold temperatures. The temperature suddenly just plummeted. It seemed like it was picking up, and then everything just suddenly plummeted. It went down to -5 Celsius, and now it's starting to. Today was really, really warm. I think it was about 17 degrees at one point today. Yeah. So it's wet in Northern Ireland. Oh, it's raining in Lancashire. We need some rain though. I mean, I'd like a good heavy rain. I'd like a lot of heavy rain at the moment, just to catch up for sort of the dry winter that we've had. Karen O, how are you doing? Thanks very much for coming in. Alan didn't get your spuds in. I haven't even bought my spuds yet. So I found a couple of I bought I got a bag of Charlotte, which is about six seed potatoes, and a bag of Maris Pierre from Home Bargains over yeah, one day this week. But I haven't done my trip to Wilco's yet, so I better get down to Wilco's before everything runs out. So we've had a lovely mild day here in Leicestershire. Spent all day in the garden. Oh, that must have been nice. See, it was really warm today. I mean, it was good enough to be out in a t-shirt. I was out in a t-shirt, collecting logs from one of my neighbours. So I left the allotment, just got to the van, and it hammered it down. I was on the floor in a t-shirt. So perfect timing then. You just got. I know you, Graham. I know you've been texting me, and Moz, you've been texting me, and I've not been answering it. It's just because I've been on the phones for the last few hours. It's been a crazy, hectic day. Ike, how are you doing? Thanks very much for coming. All this most important. All this is my most important gardening weekend. Why is it your most important gardening weekend? There's about 3 or 4 inches. It should melt off just in time for the freezing rain on. Oh, nice, freezing rain. Oh, that sounds lovely. When's your last frost? Normally in Kansas. When's it start? Sort of. And are your seasons quite predictable? Graham, it was a police van. You know, you got. I was going to put my potatoes in bags. See, I'm still way behind you all. I've still got potatoes in the ground, and some of them have actually started sprouting because we picked some a couple of days ago, and they've started sprouting. So what I'm going to do with them is, instead of harvesting them, I'm just going to replant them somewhere else and get some more potatoes going. Go to B&Q for seed potatoes, £4 for 1.5 kg. That's not a bad price. That's a similar price to Wilco's, actually. That's not like that. I might go and have a look at B&Q then. Graham, it was a police van. Okay, I'm Irish, and it's a tradition to plant on. A lot of people plant on St. Patrick's Day. I think everyone. I don't think. I think you've exported it across the world. But I normally go for about this time, but I just haven't even got my spuds yet. I'm just so. I'm at the moment. I feel like I'm being pulled in 10 different directions at the same time. Yeah, so that's where I'm at. Yeah, I know you're a busy man, bro. Don't stress. Do you grow pak choi or wong bok? Yeah, absolutely. I love pak choi. I love them. Yeah. I love bok choi, pak choi, wong bok. Yeah, these are my plants you're talking about. Yes, man. Absolutely. Yeah, it's a good time to plant them if you're planting them, and get a quick harvest before it gets too hot, and then plant them again in August time, and then you'll have them growing all the way through winter. I need to sow my tomato and aubergine and baki. What's baki? Last frost should be April 16th, but you can still get a frost until May the 1st. You're sort of similar to us. I mean, technically our last frost is early May, but yeah, you're very similar to us. Last year, April wasn't so bad, but the year before that, April was freezing cold all the way through. Last year was a really good year. It's so wet here. I'm going to build an ARG. But sink that water, because remember what's going to happen. I think we're going to end up with another drought on a hosepipe ban. I don't know what it's going to be like where you are, but in Northern Ireland. But I think in England, we're definitely going to end up with some hosepipe bans quite early on, just because of how dry the winter's been. Rob's allotment gardening. Rob, how are you doing, mate? I saw your comment on the videos as well, and you're asking me if I'm going to remember you. Of course, man. Of course, I'm going to remember you. Do you get all weirdos or rude people when leafleting? So the way it is, not really. Where I am, not really. So you get a few different types of people. You get people who just don't want to listen to you, who aren't interested, or you're just getting on their nerves, so they'll tell you so, and that's fine. You don't get but you get a lot of people who just want to be listened to. You know, they want to have their say, and in our area, it's been so neglected. People just haven't cared about it for so long. Yeah, so yeah, they just haven't had anyone to listen to them. Haven't had any representation for so long. They just want to. Sometimes some just want to rant, but they're happy that you listen to them. And people like me when they see me. I don't know. Uh, you got any growing? As I've got 400 growing. I haven't got any growing yet, but I'm gonna get some growing. But I sow small batches, so I sow about 20, then I'll sow another 20. But I'll do sowings now, and then I'll do sowings again late August, late summer, early autumn, that sort of time to get me through the winter as well. Bahrul Alam wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah. Alhamdulillah. So you're watching from Germany. Jazakallah for coming in. Hope you're keeping well. What's the weather like in Germany? Hi Rob, mate. All good. When should you grow pak choy? I have a polytunnel. So Karen, now's a perfect time for growing pak choy. Pak choy, sow them now every couple of weeks for the next 6 weeks until the end of April, sort of that sort of time, and then you'll get lots of little harvests. And you know, if you plant maybe 10 or 12 plants now and then 10 or 12 plants in a couple of weeks, you'll get steady harvests through mid-spring into summer. But once it gets really hot, pak choy is going to bolt really quickly. A lot of the mustards tend to bolt really quickly. So yeah, sow them now, and then you've got summer harvest and late spring harvest, and then in autumn, sort of end of August, September time, start sowing them again, and you'll have harvest all the way through the winter. Let me just tilt this camera a little bit. There we go. That's a better picture, isn't it? So Rob, I think you should rename your YouTube channel to Rob's Attic Allotment. See, my allotment's in my attic at the minute as well. Sean, how are you doing? Thanks very much for coming in. Hope you're keeping well. Ali, absolutely, totally agree with that. We need something completely revolutionary, I think, and that's why I joined the Radical Greens. I think my allotment, is allotment garden. I live in a flat, so this is my garden. Yeah. Muhammad Fiaz, wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah. How are you doing? Thanks very much for coming in. Oh, I'm a member of the Lib Dems, but Greens are convincing me. All your planting goes on this week. So it's going to be absolutely pedal to the metal this week. Then, are you planting inside, or are you starting to plant in a greenhouse or outside, or what you doing? It's been so wet here. The ground is saturated, so water is lying on top of the grass, hoping my young fruit trees survive having their roots being waterlogged. Karen, whereabouts are you? Remind me, please. Because we've been so dry. I mean, we've had a couple of heavy days of rain, and yeah. Could you fork the ground a little bit to help it drain? You know, if you're really worried about it, could you fork where your fruit trees are, or could you put in some drainage channels or something like that? So I'll bring you first 20 of you. My windowsill is falling out, Mrs. I'm not surprised. The thing is, our house is completely full of plants at the minute. we've got for some reason my mum sowed some pumpkin plants back in February, and because they're in the house, some of them have started flowering. So I've got a pumpkin plant flowering in the house. Yeah, it's crazy. So Bahrul Alam Fall Spring is going on in Germany as well. When's your last frost where you are? My pak choy gets eaten. I'm so getting fed up. What's eating it? Is it slugs eating it, or is it because flea beetle are bad for pak choy? But with flea beetle, you need something to break that pest cycle. So we've had bad flea beetle over the last couple of years because the chickens aren't allowed to go out and destroy those pest cycles for us. Hopefully I'll be able to. Oh, that'll be nice to meet you. That'll be wicked. I did have Attic in my name, but people said the name was too long. Rob's allotment is, that's perfect. Rob's allotment gardening, that's perfectly fine. So up in urban area of Argyle. Oh, okay, so you're going to be a little bit cold. I can try that if I don't sink in it. You might have a bit of quicksand, so keep a rope handy. Will you have room for the pumpkin plants in till the frost is over? I don't know what we're going to do with those pumpkin plants. They're not, let's say, they're not the healthiest plants at the moment either, and I'll be honest, I'm tempted to throw them away, but I'm not going to throw them away while Mum's still saying, look, she wants to keep them. Yeah, that's where it is. I just listen to whatever Mum says. Big Mac spoke to an Instagram, put my chili seeds in tea, and thanks to you spoke to me. Did you message me on Instagram? But that's fantastic news. I like that. Well done. Sorry, if your name's different on Instagram, then I might not just catch you up. Some people don't believe me that I have such a setup in my attic, and they see one of my until they see me. What have you got in your attic? Because all I've got in my attic is a painter and decorators table. Do you know, one of those cheap painter decorators table sat in front of a big window. We had rain for the past week, heavy as well, but I've got my pumpkin living indoors. It's way too early for pumpkins. We'll go for pumpkins sort of end of this month, early next month, that sort of time. Rob's always a good straightforward. It's saying our last frost will be end of April, beginning of May. See, Moz, we're similar. I didn't get my watermelon seeds. There's loads of seeds that I wanted because you told me about a few tomatoes and a couple of chilies that I wanted to get, and I just never got around to doing it. It's just got completely crazy busy. Any moment I've not been able to spend time in my garden. I've not been able to recover from the storms just because any free time that I'm getting at the minute is just out campaigning. It was 17 degrees here until about 4 p.m. and then heavens opened up and then some thunder. See, we had really nice days all day long today. A little bit of rain in the middle, but really hot all the way through. Oh, excuse me. I don't sow pumpkin until late May, early June direct. I remember that. I dare to throw them, you'd end up living with me as more. Yeah. Yeah. The thing is, they're really weak plants. They're really skinny, dying little pathetic plants. But I wouldn't dare throw them out simply because, I don't think I'm too old to get the slipper. I got in trouble one year for growing a melon too early. I hung the vines up a window and it turned into a living curtain. See, that's one of the things, when you transplant big mature plants like that, they don't adapt as well into the ground. I mean, some plants need that long growing season, but some, when you transplant them and they're big, they just don't adapt as well. And when you plant a smaller plant, it seems to do a lot better and a lot faster. So what I tend to do is, if I plant early, I plant in really weak soil, something that's going to stunt the growth for a bit. And then once it gets a bit of food, so, about this time, start feeding it, and then by the time spring comes, or by the time you're ready to plant them out, they're just starving and they want to go. Or I keep trimming them back. That's the other little trick that we do. So the chilies are doing really good. I mean, we've got a bad infestation of aphids this year, and the aphids came on a lot earlier than normal. They normally, I mean, we start getting aphid infestations around end of March, early April, that sort of times when we start seeing aphids. But I think it's because we've overwintered so many chili plants that the aphids are just coming on a lot earlier this year. My dad was a right hit and miss with the UK weather. I guess we're all hoping for the same as last year. I hope it's the same as last year. I want that chili harvest again. We got some amazing chilies last year. Yeah, some of the best chilies I've ever had. My chilies are doing great. Derek, excuse me, Derek. Thanks. Really appreciate that message about the thingy about the flu. Now we figured out why. We figured out why the chimney was smoking into the house. The cowl was completely blocked. So what the fitters must have done, because what the fitters must have done was they must have left some kind of plastic bag or something, or some bit of wrapper inside the chimney, and that's gone up and melted at the top, and it's melted and shut the cowl completely. It sealed it, because it was like right on the cowl. It was just complete tar. When the chimney was swept, yeah, absolutely fine, but the cowl was completely, it was completely blocked. Absolutely, a big chunk of tar, and that's what was causing the smoke to back up down the chimney. But they came out today. They replaced the cowl, so that's a good bit. That's something. But I told them, look, you left bits of plasterboard and stuff like that inside my chimney pipe, man. What are you guys playing at? Will the pumpkin plants die in a greenhouse with the frost? I think pumpkin plants would struggle right now in the greenhouse. I mean, if we have days like this every day, then no, I think they'll be okay. But I think they will struggle if we get to frosty temperatures. Anything below 10 degrees on a night for a couple of nights, and you'll see pumpkin plants start sulking and really get pathetic. Still no regrowth on my pepper, still dry and oh man, I'm sorry about that. Yes, buddy.
When you're coming down, we're watching this movie about this dog.
About a dog, I'll join you at 9 o'clock.
Like the ones that are based off a true story.
I'll come and join you at 9 o'clock. Okay.
What time is it now?
Sorry.
What time is it now?
8:30, so half an hour. I always grow new every year. Do you sow chilies and stuff like that in December? I tend to sow mine in December. I like to sow mine in sort of end of November, early December, that sort of time. I don't really like going beyond January. I mean, this year a lot was sown in January, and a lot was sown towards the end of January and early February. Just because, I'm just struggling. I'm struggling for time at the moment.
Just
really
quick
struggling.
Question. Just ask you a quick question.
I heard you can regrow old pepper plants, right or wrong? Do you mean dead plants, or do you mean overwintered ones? As long as they're alive and they're kept alive over winter, they're going to come back. Because remember, peppers, tomatoes, aubergines, all of these sort of solanaceae plants. A lot of solanaceae plants, they're short-lived perennials, so they will live for 4 or 5 years quite comfortably if they're given the right conditions. Yes.
Can I just ask you a quick question?
Go on then.
So me and my friends, we've made this Minecraft survival world, and there's not really much to do in there. So I was just wondering if you guys had any project ideas for it, so we could for what we could do.
So, project idea for your Minecraft survival world, is that what it is?
Yeah.
Okay. So, any ideas for Minecraft survival world project ideas? Hello, Pam. How are you doing? Thanks very much for coming in. Let's see who else is here. I went to 2 aubergine plants that produced a ton of for me last. See, most of them do better. If they've got the right conditions, most of them do better in their second year. Yeah, most of them, not all of them though. You skipped me right to the end, and I don't know what's going on. I had grow lights on, but was scared in case door got kicked in. See, I've got my grow lights. I've got my grow lights right in front of my living room door. No, not living room, front door. And I don't really worry that much because they're LED. They're not that power crazy, so they are quite energy efficient. So Komodo dragon seeds from 2021, no good 2022. Okay, growing. I think they should be okay. I think they should be okay. Chili seeds will last a good few years. So I think there shouldn't be any problem with them. I've grown 10-year-old chili seeds and they've done fine. So yeah. I hope you didn't pay for the chimney repair. Give me the number. So no, we didn't. No, they were absolutely fine about replacing it. Really good about replacing it, actually. I mean, they took a couple of weeks, and we had to go through that really cold spell with no heat in the house, or back to rationing our central heating. This is the one thing about having the wood burner, is that because I'm scavenging wood and stuff like that, we can heat the house properly. But when you're back to central heating, it's just on for a few hours in the morning, a few hours in the evening. But it's not good for you. I'm not doing much gardening yet. It's like slush and mucky. Gardening time's coming. It's coming. Cats are using my garden beds as their toilet, annoying me. When I had a dog, they didn't dare. What can I do now? So some of the easiest, some of the more technical things, like getting hypersonic, cat repel, super, whatever you want to call it, sound cat repellents. You can get. Yeah, they know we're getting a cat. We told them last week. You can get. So what's lion poo? You can buy that sort of stuff. That's supposed to do good for, or lion wee, and spray that about. You can wee in your garden yourself, and that smell should deter some of them. What else can you do? If you've got beds that you can protect, use a bit of chicken wire and use a defensive mechanism. Apparently cinnamon's supposed to do something. I've never used cinnamon before, but apparently it's supposed to do something. I can urinate on my pepper plants. Yeah, it would boost growth. I mean, it's a big hit of nitrogen, so always dilute your urine. So minimum, if you're trying to go for a mature plant and you want to go for a strong hit, then about 50-50. But minimum, I'd say, is, if you're just going for normal, especially around young plants, I'd go for 1-20, that sort of ratio. Can you overwinter tomatoes? Yes, you can. Tomatoes, if they're given the right conditions, they'll live for about 4 or 5 years. Yeah, so you can overwinter them. Anonymous, how are you doing? Thanks very much for coming in. I'm going aubergines for the first time. Should I grow in a bed or in greenhouse? They'll need the greenhouse. If you want good harvest, grow them in the greenhouse. if you get a summer like last year, if that happens again, they'll grow outside. I mean, last year if you look at my aubergine harvesting video, or some of the summer harvest that I did from last year, we were harvesting baskets full of aubergines from the garden outside. But they did a lot better inside, don't they? Karen was saying she doesn't know anything about Minecraft, so she can't help. Just sold some grow lights with my fish tank, but my missus didn't want me hanging them from the ceiling. How are the chilies I gave you? They're doing good. I need to start potting them up and moving them into their own plots. So I've started potting things up, which I did in my. The only ones that I did was the Naga that I did in my last video, and I potted them up, and they're sat in the attic now. We're going to have a lot more chilies than we did last year, and the ones that you gave me, they just need potting up now, and they should be good. I'm not normally still up this late. Nearly pumpkin time for me though. I'm growing one aubergine plant this year. From plot to plate, no dig. How are you doing? I hope you're very, very well. I remember the chilies and aubergine plants I bought from you last year did well. See, yeah, there's a few people messaged me about chilies. I need to get back to them with a list of stuff once I've potted everything up. I just got started bring my peppers out of dormancy and they're greening right up. I'm trying to postpone fertilizing them because I don't want them to take off. Buy a cane courser dog. I don't know what a cane courser dog is. No, I haven't caught any thieves yet. We've got a camera on outside, which is good. You know, it's just a doorbell camera, but it's there. And I'm not going to say what I've done today, but yeah. Let's see if someone comes by. I use plastic forks or even toothpicks. Yeah, there you go. See, that's the other thing I was going to suggest, where you go back to sort of physical defenses. So brambles, holly leaves, anything spiky, just to scare them off. You're a Yorkshire. I don't do well in the cold, man. You know me. I don't do well in the cold. Yeah, I struggle in the cold, man. Our greenhouse wanted to coincide earlier this week. It almost ended up. Is that because of winds? I'm all right. Skunk pheromone. There you go. There's something. If you can get that in the UK, some skunk juice. Nice bags for tomatoes. Nice bags for tomatoes, mate. Was a good idea to turn those bags into. I'm not sure what's going on there. What fertilizer do you use on peppers? My neighbour uses a motion-activated water spray to keep larger sprays like cats and dogs out of the garden. It's harmless. That's a really good idea, actually. That's a really good idea. I like that. I really like that idea. Nazim Chowdhury, wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah. I've grown beefsteak tomatoes and aubergine earlier this year, but they're not grown much. 2 centimeter in height, look stunted. What can I do to improve them? Give them heat and give them light. Well, as long as they're in a warm room, then that'll be good. But the other thing is to make sure that they've got plenty of light. But let them grow slowly. At this time of year, you don't want them to race ahead. Make sure they've got lots and lots of light. Once they start growing, they will take off, because remember, you're at least 6 weeks away from planting them outside yet. So don't be in too much of a rush for them to take off. As long as they're short and they're doing okay, that's good. That's fine. I got a horse on Minecraft. Get some chili focus. That was a good feed for them. This year I was just going to be way hotter. Minecraft. I think it's going to be a hot one. I really do. Anonymous, absolutely fine, not a problem. Dr. Joe, vegetable bubble and compost. I like compost tea. What's a vegetable bubble? What's that all about? I haven't heard it. Take fingers as a necklace if you catch it. Drink Yorkshire tea, it'll make you warm. Hint the tea is actually from. Yeah, is it from Sri Lanka? Because remember the advert that they had a few years ago, you know, the 2 tums fresh one. That was filmed in India, wasn't it? Make sure you're wrapped up tomorrow. Yeah, see, Moz, you were there that first market we ever did. I was shivering. You saw me. I mean, my wife's from Bangladesh, and she was better. She was doing better than I was. But yeah, I was absolutely shivering. I was like, my teeth were rattling and everything. I've been giving up a Tunnel House. I'm really looking forward to it. Oh, wicked! How big? Toss. How big's your polytunnel? I bought some critter ridder from the USA and it worked. What's a critter? Okay, sounds like an insect repellent, cat repellent or something. No way. This is so. It's Philip. When did you get back on your on YouTube? Wicked, man. I didn't know it was you. Oh, nice. When did you get back? And how's life treating you? I'm really happy to see you, man. I'm really happy to see. So, the first live that I ever did, right? Carl was on the live stream, and his YouTube channel name was Phillips Town Allotment, right? And he's messaging me saying, you know, I'm talking to this guy called Philip, because I thought it was Phillips Town Allotment. Yeah, I thought it was 3 words, but Phillips Town is the place that he's from. So I'm there talking to this guy called Philip from, you know, and his town allotment, and he keeps talking to me. You know, people keep talking to this Carl guy, and I'm like, what's going on with this Carl guy? Yeah, where's Philip gone? Very easily confused, as you can tell. But yeah, one of the most hilarious incidents on one of my live streams, because it was the confusion was absolutely crazy. But yeah, I'm glad you're back. I'm really happy to see you. Finally managed to log on to live again. How are you doing? I hope it's hot one this year. I really wanted to do a seven sisters bed. You got your 3 sisters, and where did the other 4 come from? Let's take a flask of hot chocolate down the allotment on winter. Alan's going taking his whiskey. I'm a teetotaler, so I take it. Other seeds planted afterwards have grown a lot better than the stunted plants. Maybe plant some other. You know, are there Nazim? Are there a lot of plants that are stunted? Maybe plant some backups just in case. So you've got a 5-meter long polytunnel toss, wicked, very nice. Vegetable bubble is shipped as a pre-measured tablet. You just drop it in the water and it gets bubbly as it's dissolved. It's a 14, 14, 17, so you have to use it. Okay, interesting. Been back for 6 months and made loads of. Oh, wicked! But I'm glad. Have you been in my live before? But I've not. I didn't know it was you though. And if I've even seen, do you know if I've seen you? I didn't know it was you. But I'm glad to see you back, man. Let's talk, please. We have here in Germany now 10 to 14 degrees Celsius daytime, but temperature drops to 2 to 4 degrees. Can I plant outside already? Check your soil temperature. If your soil temperature is at least 5 degrees, you know, or more, for peas, they should be okay. Are you direct planting outside, or are you starting inside and then moving those outside? Because if you start inside and then put them outside, it's going to be easier for them to get established, because it's colder for us. It's colder for us here, but in a couple of weeks, I'm going to start. As soon as I get some time, I'm going to move some of my indoor peas outside so I can get more peas started. Abdul Hadi, wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah. When's it good time to plant potatoes in containers to be left outside? Anytime from now will be absolutely fine. Yeah, anytime from now in containers, absolutely perfect. Tony, how are you doing, boss man? I hope you're keeping well. Oops, I've lost some comments there. What's happened? I'm good. I've been super busy clearing the new community plot. Have had a lot of annual leave and have cleared the whole thing full of bindweed and get all the structure in around a month. You're always non-stop. You're always non-stop. We're gonna, so I'm thinking, to come and give you guys a visit in just what's that holiday? In May. Is it Whit Spring Bank holiday? Whit holiday. I'm thinking we're gonna come over and say hello at that time. Do you think that's gonna be an alright time to come over? Finger limes, interesting. What's a finger lime? What are they? That's interesting. I need to have a look at these things, because there's two things that are coming in. One's like a caviar stuff inside it, and one's like a lemon stuff inside it. You go in the one with the caviar stuff inside it, or the lemon stuff inside it. So corn, beans, pumpkin, sunflowers, or amaranth, Cape gooseberries, Jerusalem artichokes, or atari and tobacco. Interesting. I was going to set up that's a good mix, that. See, amaranth we grow loads of, but we grow it for the leaves. Where have we gone? CW, how are you doing? Hope you're keeping well. Taro, not Atari. Oh, yeah. See, taro you can grow. We grow taro or variations of taro. So we grow edos and we grow muki. A lot of that we grow them and we eat the leaves rather than getting the tubers forming. It's just they don't have a long enough season to get the tubers, but we do get some good leaves. So I think I'm a bit behind in the chat. So if you're sowing your peas direct outside, I'd wait a little bit. Just wait on how wet the soil is as well. Now, if the soil's quite wet, then don't do it. Wait till the soil's a little bit drier, or put loads of compost and stuff into your trench before you plant them. But yeah, peas is not that bad. Check your soil temperature first. Yeah, that would be a fab. You're most welcome. Made loads of progress. It looks really good. Finger limes are Aussie. I'm only growing it for the pest control. Not worry about it. See, how tolerant are potatoes to a frost around -2? So if the potatoes are underground, they're going to be fine as long as they don't, as long as the bucket doesn't freeze, they'll be okay. If the potato plant itself gets frosted, a light frost will just set it back. A hard frost could kill it, but a light frost just might set it back a little bit, and normally they bounce back after that. But yeah, so if you're worried about foliage damage, then just when you forecast a frost, just cover it with something. Just use a cloth, a rag, a bit of floss, a bit of fleece, a bit of dental floss, yeah. um, so yeah, so we've got 36 people, 24 likes. If you don't mind hitting that like, people, that'd be good. Is Epsom salt a myth on tomatoes? See, Epsom salt, the jury's out. Okay. Yeah, the jury's out, I'd say. Now, the so with Epsom salt, the way they work, right, is they're supposed to give your plants a hit of magnesium and push that, right? But the thing is, if you overburden, if you overburden a plant or feed too much magnesium to a plant, then the plant's own internal chemistry can lock out the amount of calcium it takes up. So yes, you might have a short-lived, really nice, lush green plant, but but the internal system of the plant might block it from taking up the calcium, and it might end up doing some longer damage. But most soils as well aren't magnesium deficient. If you're on clay soil like we are, they're not magnesium deficient. Does that make sense? So if you're using stuff like mulches, you're adding that stuff into your soil anyway. Do you know, if you're using woody mulches anyway, most of your minerals are being replaced over time. And if you're struggling, then just use some wood ash on your soil, and that'll give you a quick hit. So what else have we got? So, and use some aspirin. See, aspirin's another one. There's been one. It's not a study. Okay. There's been one report of some kind of experiment. It's not a proper study of aspirin replicating sort of regeneration, fight back sort of hormones in a plant. Ali, aspirin is not a fact. That there's only one sort of sciencey type of thing about it, and it's wouldn't fall under the things of, under the parameters of a study. There's one person who did an experiment. It how good it was. That's a mystery. There are some reports of aspirin. I did an experiment for myself in the garden with aspirin and non-aspirin, and I used the disposable the soluble aspirin in the soil, on the leaves. Did I notice a difference? I don't think I did. I'm going to repeat the experiment again this year and see what happens. But again, look, it's just a little test that I'm doing myself, but it's never going to be a complete scientific test. So we'll do it on a couple of plants, because I did it on tomatoes, I did it on aubergines, and I did it on some chilies. I took some identical chilies, grew them side by side, one with aspirin, one without, and I didn't see a difference at all. Let's do it again this year, and maybe I'll document it this year. when so I used to get my boys to pee on the top. I've used Epsom salt on my cucumbers when they went yellow. It did help. See, if you have a weakened roots, yeah, they will the salt on seaweed do the same thing as Epsom salt? It's a different type of salt, but if you're using salt seaweed plants, it's always a good idea to wash them before you put them on your garden, because the salt on seaweed salt could, if it's depending on the amount of area that you're putting it on, that salt is toxic. Epsom salt is a completely different type of salt. See, yeah. Use banana skins on tomatoes. Yeah, I like that. Yeah, I like banana skins. Use blackcurrant. I had a blackcurrant bush 2 years and never harvested anything from it, and it's getting quite big now. When's it safe to prune? You're losing your time on pruning your blackcurrant. If it's coming into, if it's starting to flower and stuff, I'd leave it and go back to next year. But but saying that, blackcurrants, most currants are extremely resilient. So you're probably coming up to the, if you haven't already passed their last time to do it. Try them on garlic. I did find them to be hotter, if that's your thing. Interesting. I have spider mites on my indoor chayote squash. I had to trim it down and shower it. It didn't work, so I have to now spray it with fairy liquid. Get some neem oil as well. Neem oil's okay inside. If you haven't tried neem oil, it does take some time, but yeah. I'm going to use Wilco brand to grow more. I'm going to use Wilco brand grow more fertilizer. Used fish blood and bone, but it caused damage to leaves. Didn't like it. See, Ali, you got to be careful with fish blood and bone, because a lot of the blood in it, you don't know what animal it's coming from, because it's a mix of pig, cow, chicken, everything. So just be careful with blood, fish, and bone. So aspirin is tree bark. Is it any tree bark? Because there's certain trees, isn't it, that produces aspirin. Neem oil is evil. Why is neem oil evil? It might have a sick animal. Um, it's taken from pretty much any slaughterhouse, so it's slaughterhouse scraps. The blood in it is freeze dried blood. I used to use fish blood and bone because I thought it was fish blood and fish bone, not fish, blood, bone. I didn't know it was three different things. I thought it was, everything was coming from a fish, which it doesn't. So for me, it causes religious problems. Yeah, there's restrictions there. Grow more from Wilco is too high in nitrogen, burns and makes too much green. Stay clear of it. Aspirin in white willow. Yeah, there you go. I thought it was in willow, but I didn't think it was in every bark. Di, how are you doing? Is willow? Yeah. I used kitchen compost for the first time on my chilies. It was free and had it for a year. Really, I had to resoil using my own mixed. I use seed compost. I thought, why did I read kitchen compost? Yeah, I think some of the shop composts, especially the shop peat freeze, just aren't up to standard at the minute. They need to get a lot better, and people are going to struggle sowing seeds in it. The standard of the compost just isn't there consistently. Nemo saved my apple tree in a big way. Well, I didn't think that fish blood and bone is technical. It is because it's fish blood, is blood from pigs, cows, sheep, chickens, anything, and bone from all of those things as well. And because pig for us is najas al-ain, even bones we can't use that. Just thought I'd let you know that polytunnel is finally full, is nearly full. Just waiting for tomatoes and cucumbers and chili. Oh yes, oh fantastic. Too much fish blood and bone made them taste awful. Little bark chips is very good. During last year's little compost was really good actually. I think out of all the compost that I tested, little one was best. I might do a video on buying some standard compost and comparing them if anyone's interested in that sort of video. I'm glad I have 5 tons of homemade and 4 tons of cow manure. We did, Tony, we did a trip to the get some horse manure this week. So I did a trip a couple of weeks ago, and my sister said, no, I'm taking half of it. So she just sort of helped herself to half my horse manure. So I couldn't get my hotbed set up. But I went on Sunday, I think, and, filled the trailer up and brought loads home. So tomorrow's going to be hotbed day. After the market, obviously. So go to the market in the morning, and then when I come back from market, hotbed. Excuse my ordered too much lime for my worm bin. Can I use it for anything else? Do you mean lime as in lime powder? If it's that sort of stuff, then yeah, when you're planting cabbages and any brassicas, it's good to apply to the soil for them. Blood of any animal is najas as well. Yeah, it is, but khinzir is najas al-ain, so that's why I talked about the bones. Monty, please excuse my ignorance, but I've always wondered why pigs were such an issue for your religion. So the simplest answer, without going into the technicalities of things, I mean, there's certain things that we can eat according to scripture, and certain things that we can't eat. And it's the same, like if you go back to the biblical teachings from the Old Testament and the New Testament, pigs were, or especially in the Old Testament, pigs were not allowed to be eaten. But there's a lot of scientific sort of things, like pig meat has a lot of urea, it has a lot of sort of parasites in there as well. It can be quite harmful. Yeah, there's that side of things as well. And it's just a dirty animal as well. I've just ordered 5 tons of 9-year-old rotten manure. So next time, you asked about your alpaca poo as well, didn't you, Graham? So you asked about will dock still grow in manure in alpaca poo that's been sprayed? So if you have things like aminopyrrolate and broad spectrum herbicides, then that should technically kill things like dock and those kind of weeds. So they shouldn't really grow. But if it's becoming weak, the herbicide content in your manure, or if it's low levels, then they might start doing okay, but your peas and your beans might not. Remember those sort of broad spectrum pyrrolates that live a few years, they're mainly a concern for some plants worse than others. Yeah. Do you know it's National Compost Week and the bargains are out until is it? Where are you buying cheap compost from? It's agricultural. You can use it on garden. Where is it? Pigs are not the cleanest animal in the world. There we go. There you go. We're also not allowed to spend money on Abdul Hadi. Do you know what you just said? Yeah, that's the thing that Muslims struggle to understand. We're not allowed to spend money on things that's not permissible. That's the things that that's the part of the bit that a lot of Muslims don't understand. Yeah, what you're saying there, that's the thing that yeah, exactly what you just said there. A lot of Muslims don't understand that bit. See, good question. I don't know any Muslims. You know me, Talon. What you about? Pig parts and poo can contaminate your soil with hookworms. That's why we don't use. They see a lot of parasites. I use horseshoe. Yeah. Just something. Just fascinated me. I never asked before for fear of upsetting someone, but I know. Yeah. I don't think people would get upset. Do you know when you ask questions like that, people I doubt people would get upset over it. Yeah, yeah. For me, if anyone wants to know something about me, I'm happy to share, man. You know me, I like talking. I like talking all day long. I'm getting some phone calls, guys. I'm not sure who's phoning me actually. So, what pop are you on? Uh, bags of silver birch compost, beautiful silver birch compost, and fluffy from B&M. Okay, nice. Nothing wrong with. Uh, only have what? I only have one kind of velvet stout. Good to ask a question. This is how we learn poker. Uh, Quiet, where's the kids? Toyib was up, but he told me they were watching a film about a dog. So, and I said I'd join them at 9 o'clock, and it's past 9 o'clock. We've passed that hour mark, so I'm going to call it a day very soon. What's your top three chili varieties? My absolute favorite has got to be Naga. You know, Naga is got to be the nothing. I've never found anything that touches Naga. What's the other one? And then we grew these chilies last year. The Danu Moris, they're called. And Danu Moris, these are a little white chili, really, really hot, extremely, extremely hot. A little bit too hot for me. That's a good hot one. But I like green chilies. You know, I like your standard green chilies. The ones that you'll normally get in the supermarket. So yeah, they're really good. I'd say there's my top three. But Naga, I think Naga's just on a league of its own. And there's one that we grew for the first time last year. It was called Purple Tiger. Really hot, really pretty plant, absolutely gorgeous plant. Like it had these velvety, greeny purple leaves. Absolutely beautiful plant. The stem was purplish, dark purpley green. The chilies were bright pink and then they turned purple when they matured. Absolutely amazing. So even though they're not exactly, yeah. They're all watching this. They're all watching this dog film. Joe's long. See, I grow Joe's long, but they've got no taste to them. Right. So on that note, I'm gonna call it a night. I'm gonna call it a night. Yeah. So thanks. I've got Basket of Fire and Bird's Eye Chilies. That's the name that was coming up. Wasn't coming into my mind. But yeah, I'm gonna call it a night on that one. Thanks everyone for coming in. Good chat. Happy weekend, and I'll see you next week. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullah.